Okay, story time. So, if you've ever been on the GOARCH website or on like an Orthodox church that uses the GOARCH hosting platform to like host their website, you'll know they have like this online chapel feature here. So here's an example of a website. This is my home parish has this. So there's an online chapel. And after some poking around, because it changes every day, so it has to be dynamic, it turns out they're doing it with JavaScript and they're pulling it from the GOARCH website. So I was like, okay, I have a priest I know wanted a website. I host websites, so I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll do some digging. And it turns out they're all RSS feeds. So one is an RSS feed. The actual like main information is in an RSS feed here. The rest is in an XML feed. But I thought, oh, perfect. So I don't need to use JavaScript. I can just like pull this down and do some basic tag editing and come up with something. And so what's nice about that is you can actually get a lot more customization than if you had just, pulled down their JavaScript file and we're using that. We're building this from scratch. We can do whatever we want. So this is what it looked like when I did it. You can really do whatever you want. You can have some nice, if you see here on the GOARCH website, they actually have nice custom bullet points that are changed with the color of the liturgical cycle. And it's formatted nicely. Whereas if you just use their JavaScript they give you, it's kind of ugly. There's no bullets. What is this? This is so much nicer. And it's more readable. You don't need JavaScript, some super convoluted script to just do something. What it's doing it dynamically, every time you load the page. Whereas I can just make a script from this and I run it, I think, every day at 5 p.m. or something when it changes. So much easier. And we're going to go through how I do that. So first of all, we want to make sure, take a look here. So we're going to need this RSS feed here, which has the basic information, but you also need the XML feed. It's going to contain the fasting information and a couple other things. So, all right, sweet. Let's get to it. So we're going to copy the RSS feed first. We're going to come here. So I just have a folder here. We're going to work on, we're going to make it chapel.sh. I do this just to keep things consistent. We're going to make this executable. I think I gotta let the cat in one sec. All right, I'm back. When the 16-year-old cat wants in, you let the 16-year-old cat in. So anyway, we're making this script executable, so we're just gonna run chmod on it. And so now we have our script here. We're just gonna edit this. You can see I was messing with this a little bit earlier, but just the normal, preamble stuff. So okay, what we need to do is we need to check if there's a chapel directory, and then if there isn't one, make it, which is pretty easy. Just want to make sure it's there, right? And if this is saying would be true if it isn't, and if that's true, you're just gonna go ahead and make it. And if it's there, you're gonna go into it. Sweet. So now what we want to do is we want to actually download the scripts, and they're gonna go into this chapel folder here. Sweet. Just close this. So just curl LO and then the link here. Now we also want, like we were talking about, that gives us the RSS feed, which has the default information, and it's a lot easier to parse through. But we also want the XML feed because it gives us a little more information about the feasts. So it's the same link, but instead of daily RSS, it's just daily. And to make our lives easier, instead of having to write this out each time, the RSS file is just going to be called just RSS. RSS.asp, and then we're going to call this one XML. Sweet. So if we run this, it's going to download both of them. It's going to do that every time you run it. So these are the files here. So our RSS feed looks like this. Has each thing is its own item. So the icon is its own item. The epistle readings are their own items. Same with the gospel reading, and the feast it's just in the title here. Whereas the XML file has more information about, for example, fasting and some of the readings. But it's going to do this. It's going to download them every time. So I have it just on a cron job to run once a day. So now that we have them, once we're done, we'll uncomment it. But for the time being, I'm just going to comment these out. Sweet. That way we don't have to run it every time. So sweet. So we're just going to open these up to take a look. Daily. Oops. Just for reference. All right. So our job now is we're going to try to reconstruct this header here. So we want to make sure we have this title and the caption. We were going to do that to get the header. We're just going to run a cute little grep command. Grep, we're going to get the title tag from the RSS file here. Reason being, as you can see here, it's just in this title tag. So we're just going to run grep. It's going to give us the first one. As a matter of fact, we're going to go grep M1 here is just going to say, just give me 1. That's the maximum count. And once we have that, it's actually, you'll see here, it's going to give us leading space here when we grep that out. We just want to get rid of that. And then we also want to get rid of just the title tag itself. And we'll just do that with a quick sed command, where we're just going to get the spaces in sed are kind of weird. You have to kind of delimit them. Delimit or delimited. Yeah, you have to delimitate them like this. And we want to get all of them that there are. So we're going to put the asterisk. It's going to capture all of them. And then just the title tag. And we're going to just get rid of it. And then another sed command here to just capture the ending tag here and also get rid of that. So if we did everything right and we echo the header, we should see, if I go to yeah, so it gives us the header we want. Nice, it pulls it right out. So we want to do the same thing now. The link is always going to be the same. So if you notice here, there's actually a hyperref, it's a link. It's always going to take you here. You can do some logic to pull it out, but there's no point. It's always going to redirect here. So we're not going to worry about that. What we do want though is we want this caption, the Monday, the Holy Spirit. So we're going to pull that out pretty easily. Actually, I think it's, yeah, we can actually just pull it straight out this way. So I call it caption here. It's in its own tag, it's in a description tag. And yep, you just, instead of title, you just make it description. So in Vim, you just hit period to do the same thing, and we're just gonna check we did this right. Nice, okay. Sweet. So now we wanna get the image. The image is just a link in the RSS, you can see here. So it's not the first link, it's going to be the second link tag. I'm sorry, yeah, the second link is here. So what we want to do is we want to use grep to get 2, and then just use tail to get the last one. I'm sure there's a more efficient way to do that, but we're saving time by not using JavaScript, so it's good enough for me. So I called it image link here, and we're just going to actually I can just copy the tag here, image link, and we're just going to grab link. It's going to be the second one. So not M1, but M2, and we want to add tail -N1. That's just going to run tail and then grab one line. And so instead of title, it's going to be link. All of these are indented the same way. So that's why we're using the same sed command. Yep, there we go, perfect. So that's the link we want. As a matter of fact, we'll open that up just to take a look at it here. Perfect, nice. Sweet, so now, you'll notice here, they don't have it here, but in the GOARCH thing we have fasting information. That's really nice to have. You can see I managed to open it, I managed to link it here, so I was curious like if they even had that information. Turns out they do, but instead of it being in the daily RSS feed, it's in the XML feed in its own fasting tag. That's pretty funny. So we're just gonna pull that out, and it's the easiest thing ever. We're just gonna call this fasting, and it's grep the fasting tag from the XML file, and we don't need any tags here. And then instead of title, we're just going to do fasting. Perfect. Now, you'll notice here, there's actually a tag here. Sometimes it's empty. I was testing it. You can actually like query previous days, and from what I understand, it's only empty if it's a fast-free day, and it's like obvious, like. If it's Pascha or like the week after Pascha, bright week, it might be empty. So the logic I had for this was, if fasting is empty, actually I should put this in quotation marks. If it's empty, I'm just gonna set fasting to be fast free. The same exact content of here. I could be wrong about that. Don't take my word for that, but that's what I noticed. I tested it for like maybe 15 different dates and it seemed to work just like that. So hopefully I did this right. Let's see. Nice. Okay, that's exactly what we want. So we actually have enough now to construct this header information. So we're going to use I believe it's portable. Shell check doesn't yell at you when you do this. It's the way I prefer it. And it's just so much nicer than just catting multiple lines of a file. You can actually cat a whole chunk. So we're going to do that with, here we go. So you use cat, and then you can input end of file, and we're going to send it to index.html. We just want this to show up like if you do /chapel on a website, your web browser is smart enough to just like hide index.html, or your web server is. So we're treating it like this. So if you go to your website /chapel, it'll show up. Now, this is where we want to put our stuff in. We want it to be a doc type HTML. We're going to open a body tag, and we're going to start with a level 2 header for the header here. Header, close that off. And now we want, the way I did this was I had a level 3 header that was just a link to the daily chapel. Because if I remember correctly, yeah, it's always in this tag here, it's always this. You can make this your own thing. I mean, for the website I used, it was for an Antiochian Archdiocese, so I just had this link go to the liturgic day page. But we'll just do this stock if you wanted to emulate what I'm doing here. So the href tag here with just on the caption. And then a new line here where I just then put the fasting line as its own thing in the level 3 header. It's a little, yeah, it doesn't need to be its own thing. So awesome. Now we're gonna open a main tag. This was just the header information, but now there's some other things that we want to be doing. For example, we want the image in here. Now we're gonna make a main, and we're gonna give it ID of chapel. That way we can style it later. And I opened a div of the class per corner. Sweet. And then another div. You may or may not like divs, but this is what I did. It was just a little easier to style when everything was kind of its own box. But, you know, to each his own. And we want to close this div off, because this is where our image is going to go. And we're just going to give the source as the image link. Awesome. And now we're going to open we're going to start working with the per corner text, because we want to be able to move this around. So I open this as just div class of prayer corner text. Move that up a little bit. We're going to put this in quotation marks. Now, I had put some headers here before. You don't have to. I commented those out. I just have this as another div open. And now we put the readings. Now we're going to have to do some logic with these, but we're going to take care of those. We're going to see if this actually looks good first. Oops. So per corner readings is what I used here. And we're going to put this as a level 5 header, just with today's readings as our text. H5, and I have them as an unordered list, but we're gonna leave it there for now. We're gonna end this off with you end this with EOF. So now we're just back in regular shell script land, and we're gonna get ready to just give ourselves a little comment here for readings. But before we do that, let's actually run the chapel. Okay, it did its thing. Let's see here. So we're gonna we want index.html. Yeah, look at that. It's got stuff in it. Hopefully this will open. Yeah, look at that. It actually works. So it has everything we want. We have the header here, which has the caption. Our caption, that is hyperlinked to the Greek Archdiocese website, has the fasting information, the picture, and it has the level 5 header for today's readings. Perfect. Now, this is going to be a little tricky because depending on what time of the year it is, you might have more or less readings, and the order is always going to be a little different. So we're going to get ready for this. We're going to need to do a little grep magic and use some awk. But before we get there, we want to see here. So here we go. We're going to look for, yeah. So we know the word reading is going to be the last word in this description tag. And we want to get the line numbers for this because that will be helpful for calculating. We know it's going to be epistle, then gospel. So we can do some quick math to figure out how we're doing this. So under readings, we're going to come here now. So we're going to get line numbers. We're going to call this lines. And it's just going to be grep n. And we know reading is going to be right before a tag, so we can use that little asterisk here to help us figure that out. And this is going to be in the RSS file that we just looked at. And we're just going to use cut to just get the numbers themselves. It's the first column. Sweet. So if we echo the lines, this is going to give us the line numbers that have readings on them. So lines 10 and 18 and 25. So now that we know that, while IFS, so lines actually is, if you escape it, I'm going to call this out, is going to be a variable that has multiple lines and each line has information on it. So normally if you were using the read command in like ZSH or bash, what would happen is it would read it from a file line by line, but I want to use a variable that I stored. And so you can use while IFS to accomplish that. So while IFS equals, and then read -r line, where a line is kind of like your variable in a while loop. We're going to do the following. So we're going to have the title line is going to be each individual line. We're going to do some shell arithmetic. It's going to be the line minus 2. And we know this because this tells me each one is going to have, it's going to say epistle reading or gospel reading. And so 2 above it is the title for it. Sweet. Now we want to actually have the link for this. The Greek church is great because they actually have links to all the readings. It's just the one above it. So we're just going to subtract 1 from that line. And now we need to get the title. How do we do this here? So I used awk for this. So we're going to do awk nr equals. Now we're using variables for this, so you have to escape them. So you close out what you opened it with, and then open with the alternative kind of quotation mark. So I started with single, so I'm going to go to double and just escape title underscore line. We'll get this centered again. And you then close that and open it back up. And then you close it again. So we need, this is its own thing that kind of like closes and then opens again. And then we actually have to end the whole sequence with what we open it with, which would be the single quotation. And this is in the RSS feed again. Now we're going to use sed. We need to get rid of the title, the title lines, it's themselves. So if we remember before, it has the space at the beginning, like some spaces before, that we need to get rid of the delimiter for, which is the title tag here. Get rid of that, and then another sed command to get rid of the title tag at the end. Perfect. And then a final sed command to get rid of the semicolons and replace them with commas. Awesome. So that has given us the title. Now we need the actual link pulled out of this. All right. So we're going to use awk again, and r equals, and we need to escape like before, same process. So it's going to be the link line, and then close from RSS, and I believe it's the same. Oh, it's not quite the same because see here, the title, depending on, some of these are, if you have more than one reading sometimes, or if it's like a reading that has a skip in it, which is pretty common in the lectionary, you need to replace those because the punctuation's a little iffy, which is what the final sed command here is, but we don't need to do that in the link. So we're going to pass this to sed, and we're just going to pull this out. And instead, Oops. Instead of getting rid of the title, we're just going to get rid of the link. Awesome. And then we're going to get the description too. I call this read_desk for read description. And instead of link line, it's just going to be line. From the RSS feed, we're going to get rid of the word, instead of link, it's going to be description. Boom. And the value of doing this in a while loop is that it's going to do it for every reading. So if you have one reading, it's going to do it once. If you have 3 for like a Sunday, it's going to get them all, which is so wonderful. So now that we have all the information we need, we're just going to run just an echo command here to make a paragraph that has the link to the reading itself. We're going to do target. This is just a convenience for like someone who's using it. We need to reload the page. Target underscore blank is going to open whatever you're using in a new tab. And it's going to have the title for it. Oops. We're going to close it off and use the 2 arrows just mean append to end of file. And we want that to index.html. Perfect. And then that should be done. Awesome. Now that we're not quite done because we still have the while IFS open, we need to do done and then 2 of these and the file with the lines, which is the variable we're using, and then EOF. Perfect. See? That's what we need to do this. Now what we want to try is see what this does. If we did it right, it gets both readings for today. It gets the epistle reading here, and it gets the gospel reading. Awesome. Now I have these as paragraphs here, but actually this should be, if you remember earlier, the correct thing to do, since this was an unordered list, these should actually not be paragraphs. They should be list items here. And then let's rerun that so we get a good idea. Yeah. So now they're list items. Sweet. So what we're going to do here now is we're just going to close off the list kind of before we do EOF to index.html. We're going to center this. And so, we got to remember how we tab things here. Okay. Sweet. We're going to close off this list. Awesome. We're going to close the div. And we're going to close off. Oh, nope, we're opening a div. Opening a new div. It's the list of saints. Per corner saints is what I call this here. With a level 5 header here, and it's saints and feasts commemorated. Did I spell that right? Yeah. And we're going to start another list here. Awesome. And we're going to end this with EOF. Awesome. Just run that, see what we get. And yeah, there we go. Okay. Now, this shouldn't be too bad actually. You just need to do a little bit of manipulation because the saints here are like a horrible list. It's just one line, which is why like the JavaScript they use, they just pop that in there. But it's ugly. Like I want it to be pretty. I want it to be like this, where you can have a custom list item here, and everything's its own hyperlink. Well, in this case, it's going to be one hyperlink, but you can, in principle, you could do each one individually. Sweet. So we're just going to do some magic here. We're going to call this saints because it's going to be a list like before, where we're using grep. We're going to grab title. Oops, the title tag from RSS. Get the last one because in this file it is the last title in this whole thing. Cool. We're going to run a sed command here to get rid of the leading space as before. Oops. What am I doing? There we go. I can't type today. As many of those as there are. Get rid of the word title. Nice. And same with the end tag. We want to get rid of that. Cool. And we want to pipe this. There's another set command. You can do this as a continual, but in my notes I have it as 2. You want to get rid of the escaped ampersands here, because we're putting these back in an escaped way, because if you'll have double escape sequences, and so you want to make sure you take care of that. I get rid of the escaped ampersand and replace it with just the ampersand. You want to do that for all of them. Same with the new lines here. So yeah. So another set command, some of these semicolons with spaces on either side of them, you want to just replace those with a new line. That way we can make an ordered list for all of them. And then you want to replace the semicolons with just a space after them with new lines also. And you do that for all of them. Okay. And then same as before. While ifs equals read -r saint, because it's one of many, we're going to make just a list item, which is href. So you can really set this to whatever you want, like if you have a prologue of Orid or something, but you can just get this, you can just pull this from the link here. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to get the saint, we're going to get saint link. We want to get the link because we want these to be for the day itself, right? So we're doing this on the fly. Okay. So the I'm going to get the last link here. Now which one? It's going to be, is it the last link? Yes, so it's the last link. So we're just going to grep link from RSS, get the last one, and replace this. So now we have the right link. Okay. Now we're going to put saints link, and we just want here. Oh, actually, it wasn't my notes. Never mind. That's pretty funny. So we want to make sure we get we have the saint link there. We want to make sure we get it for each saint from here. And we're going to close off that. And we're going to append this to index.html. Oops. Done. And a file. Did I forget to close off? Yeah. There we go. End of file. And then from the saints, EOF. Awesome. So hopefully we did this right. Oops, what did I do? 58. Is it not read-r? No, it's read-r. Oh. Not found. Let's see here. What did I mess up? Oh, I'll be right back. We gotta see what we did wrong. Figured it out. So it turns out this while ifs line, you need a space after the equal sign, or else it'll freak out at you. So just make sure you have the space here before read. So this should work now. No errors. Okay. And look at that. It gets them all here, and they should all be linked to the correct. Perfect. That is all the ones that are available. Awesome. So now we just need to close this off. So we have readings, saints, and we just want this bottom line that has visit the online chapel for daily readings, hymns, monthly calendar of saints, and feasts, and more. So we just want to come down here. We're going to do another cat EOF to index.html. Okay. We want to make sure we close off the UL at the right spot. There we go. Same with the div. Oh, make sure we escape that. Okay. Now we need to open a div of the class prayer corner visit. Awesome. Just with just a quick little paragraph in here. Oops. That says exactly this. We want visit the online chapel for daily readings, hymns, and monthly calendar of saints and feasts and more. And we want this to be emphasized too. Very nice. If you wanted to, you could put a line in, but you could also do that with CSS. So I mean, it's not a huge deal for me. I didn't put it in mine, as you can see here. Like I did it with CSS. I didn't do it with an actual HTML element. Awesome. And I think we just want to close off this div. Right. There we go. Trying to get this nice. And I think that's the last one here. Yep. Close off the main tag. And then close off the body. And then EOF. And I think that's good. Awesome. Yeah. Sweet. Oh, you want a link on the online chapel here. Pretty easy. This is going to be a different link though. As a matter of fact, it's going to be this link, just /chapel. Oops. Awesome. So it doesn't have any styling yet, but this is all the information you need here to perfectly replicate what I've done here. Or if you want to do things more simply, you could, of course, make it like the JavaScript that the Archdiocese provides. But if you want it fancy and nice, and you want to do things, in a cool way with static scripting, now you know how. So I hope you found this interesting. That's all I've got. Cool. Thanks.